Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. So guys, let's talk some boxing. So Dmitry Bivol defeats Gilberto Ramirez, and now there's speculation about who's he going to fight next. And everybody's talking about the Canelo fight, and Eddie Hearn's talking about the Canelo fight. Eddie Hearn wants to make the Canelo fight over the Beterbiev fight. Now, he talked about, well, Beterbiev is not going to be around. I mean, Beterbiev is taking other opportunities, taking other fights. I mean, he's taking the fight with Anthony Yarde, which obviously is a fight which has already been agreed. So Eddie Hearn thinks that, you know, Beterbiev is not going to be an option. So Eddie Hearn wants to make the Canelo fight. He wants to make the Canelo fight. Why? Because both guys would be under his banner. And let's see what Canelo decides to do. Let's see what Bivol decides to do. Bivol said that he wants the legacy over the money, which he probably has the money now, and he knows that with his talent he's going to get the money, and even if he fights Beterbiev, he's going to make the money. But I don't understand why Bivol is reluctant to fight Canelo. I think the Canelo fight is a great fight. Now, and maybe it's because he feels that the fight doesn't really bring anything for him. Like, Bivol can only lose now because Bivol's already beaten Canelo. So what's he going to gain by fighting Canelo again when he's beat him already once? I mean, it's kind of not a lot for him to gain. So Eddie Hearn's put the carrot out there that, you know, Bivol might be willing to go down to 168 because he wants to be undisputed, and Bivol will have the chance of being undisputed. And we know that Bivol will still have his title, WBA title. In the meantime, if he can go down to 168 and beat Canelo 168, become 168 undisputed champion, he would complete his goal of being an undisputed champion, you know, and then he can go back up and look to become undisputed at 175. I don't know whether Canelo would be open to that, because Canelo knows that he has a lot to lose. If Bivol comes down to 168 and Canelo beats him at 168, people will say, well, Canelo drained Bivol down to 168. If Canelo was to lose to Bivol at 168, then Canelo's whole reputation is damaged. So Canelo that would be a very tough and tricky decision for Canelo Alvarez, and I'm not so sure Canelo Alvarez would risk that fight. You know, so for me, I'm a bit on the fence with that, because I don't know whether Canelo would want to risk that. If you're Canelo, what would you do? I don't think you should risk that personally, because I think it's too risky. I mean, you've got your reputation on the line. People are saying Canelo's a great at 168. I mean, if Bivol comes down and beats him on there, I mean, Canelo's in a very tricky spot. So for me, Canelo, if he wants to rematch Bivol, he should go to 175. If he fights at 168, that's not good for Canelo, unless Bivol is drained. I mean, you know, Bivol, that's a nah, man. I'm not too keen on that for Canelo. Canelo's got to be careful with that move, because there's a lot of a risk attached to that. If Canelo does end up getting beat by Dmitry Bivol at 168, oh my goodness, I mean, his reputation is going to be tarnished. So Canelo has got a decision to make. Canelo has got a serious decision to make. I actually think that would be a very tough fight for him. So I think he's got to be careful with what he decides to do, because I genuinely don't think that would be an easy fight for him. You know, Bivol is a really, really good fighter. He's a very skilled fighter, and it's a very dangerous fight for him. So for me, I think Canelo's got to be. I think Canelo's got to be smart. I think his team's got to be smart. I don't think they should just take a fight for the sake of taking it. I think I personally think that Canelo could, you know, damage his reputation at 160. I think Canelo, if he's going to fight him at 175. If Canelo does want to fight at 168, you need to fight Benavidez, fight guys like that. Forget Bivol at 168. That's too risky from a career and a legacy reputation standpoint. I don't think Canelo should take on that fight at 168. And for Bivol, I mean, I can see why Bivol wants it, because Bivol wants to have more belts. You know, people are calling Bivol a pound for pound great, but he's only really been a champion, of a light heavyweight champion with a title, one title. There's a guy in his division that has 3 titles in Beterbiev, and that's why he wants the Beterbiev fight, because the Beterbiev fight can make him an undisputed champion. That is a very, very good fight, man. I can't stress enough. That is a very, very solid fight, and a fight that I think most people will want to see. I would really like to see Dmitry Bivol fight Arthur Beterbiev. Really, like, you know what? I don't understand why there's obstacles in making that fight. I don't understand why there's blocks in the way making that fight. I mean, who wants to watch a Beterbiev Yard fight, man? I mean, it's a good fight here in the UK, but I mean, make the real fight, make the proper fight, which is Beterbiev v Bivol. And look, I'm all for giving guys opportunities. I'm all for Yard getting his opportunity. I like Yard as well. But the point is the world wants to see Beterbiev v Bivol. You know what I mean? That's what the world wants to see. And make those fights for the fans, man. I'd happily pay 20 quid for that. You know, I mean, that's a great fight. Great fight. You know, unfortunately, we don't get the fights we want to see. That is honestly a mega fight. That's a super fight. I mean, the fight between Bivol and Beterbiev, oh, that's a great fight. Great fight. You know, but like I said, Eddie Hearn said we're probably not going to get that anytime soon. So it's disappointing because for me, that is the fight. Bivol v Beterbiev is the fight that really they should make, but they're not going to make it, and that's the sad thing about it. I mean, they're not going to make that fight, and it's sad because it's, like I said, it's one of the best fights that can be made in boxing. So disappointing to hear that, you know, we're not going to get a Beterbiev Bivol fight next, and the fact that it can't be made next because Beterbiev's got other opportunities. But why? I mean, why can't it be made next? I mean, it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre, man. It really angers me when, you know, when fights that we really want to see don't happen. I mean, the state of boxing is as such that it feels like the fights that we really want, like, fights get made. Decent fights get made, but the real super fights don't get made. Your Spence Crawfords don't get made. Your Joshua Furies don't get made. Your Beterbiev Bivols don't get made. You know, we get the fights like Bivol v Gilberto Ramirez, where it's a good fight, but it's not really it's not the top echelon fight. You know, the Gervonta Davis v Ryan Garcia, the top echelon, they don't get made. They just don't get made. They tease us. They tease us and they say, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. We're in negotiations, but it never comes round. It never happened. Like, how long have we been hearing Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia in negotiations for? For how long? Still not made. Still not made. I mean, the top echelon fights don't seem to get made. Whether it's the promoters are scared to, you know, protect they're scared that, you know, they're putting their top fighters in a risky fight. They may lose. It hurts their brand. It hurts their reputation. What is it? I don't know. But we don't really get the top echelon fights, and that's a shame, really, because, you know, those are the fights that really can transcend the sport, make the sport of boxing bigger. The reason why boxing has you know, not the same level because what it used to be back in the day, the best used to fight the best. Now, listen, yeah, there was, you know, Paulie Malignaggi said this, that there was fights that never happened back then, but the big super fights did happen. And they're the super fights that we remember. The Ali Fraser fights did happen. The Ali Foreman fight happened. You know, we don't talk about, oh, how long it happened. No, when it was talked about, it happened. I mean, Sugar Ray v Hagler happened. Hagler v Hearns happened. You know, all these fights. Duran v Leonard happened. I mean, you see, all these fights happened. You know, and the problem is in this era, see, back then it was like, when was it gonna happen? Now it's like, is it even gonna happen? Like, is Joshua Fury ever gonna happen? Is Joshua Wilder ever gonna happen? You see, we're talking, is it ever gonna happen? Back then, when is it gonna happen? I mean, we knew it was gonna happen, it was just when, you know, but now it's not when, is it gonna happen? And then we get a situation, look at, for example, Khan and Brook. I mean, that was a fight here in the UK that we wanted for a long time. And I mean, when we got it, it was like a crap, horrible. I mean, one guy was severely washed up. The other guy was, you know, not as washed. I mean, it was a totally bad, it was a rubbish fight. It didn't really live up to what it probably could have done 6-7 years earlier. And that's what's sad about boxing, is that we don't really get the fights we want at the right time. The fights need to be made at the right time so the fans can get a great spectacle. Because when you fight, when there's a hype around a fight, there's a reason why there's a hype around that fight, because it's probably going to be a great fight. The problem is that these fights don't happen when we want to see it happen. And that's a big problem with boxing. It stops the growth of the sport. And yeah, so let's hope that Bivol Beterbiev, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but let's hope Bivol and Beterbiev does happen. Let's hope that, you know, those two can get in the ring and we do get a great fight when they do get in the ring, and we don't get a shot we don't get Bivol against a shot Beterbiev, because Beterbiev is pushing on a little bit. You know, he's old. You know, especially for boxing, he's 37, 38. I mean, he's coming to the back end of his career. So let's hope that, you know, he doesn't fall off the cliff anytime soon. So when they do fight, it's a good fight. But yeah, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Love to know your opinions, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.